Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grow Up, Level Up, an interview podcast where we talk to folks about the fun and games that helped us grow up. I'm Samson, and in this podcast, I do interviews with people and explore the childhood games, whether it's video games, tabletop games, playground games, and more, that helped them grow up and had an impact in their life. I also talk to them about the types of games and fun experiences that they choose to participate in today. The goal of this podcast is to highlight the importance that fun has in our lives and relationships, whether it's growing up, present day, or in the future. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for this episode of Grow Up, Level Up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Grow Up, Level Up, a podcast where I, Samson, interview folks about why they want to make video games, board games, playground games, tabletop games, all the types of games part of their everyday life. We also explore a little bit of how they grew up with games and how that continues to influence them today. As you might have heard in the intro that we have now, I wanted to do this because I want to highlight how games are involved in people's day-to-day lives, just like music and movies are. So before we introduce our guest, I have a couple housekeeping things to take care of. First is good news. The podcast should be available everywhere now. So it should be on Apple Podcasts. Thank you. Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, whatever you want. And if it is not, let me know and I will make sure to get that sorted out ASAP. Another thing is that we are launching a newsletter. If you go to growuplevelup.substack.com and sign up for the newsletter, you'll get maybe behind the scenes insights, behind the scenes news, as well as future news on what the next step of Grow Up, Level Up is. So make sure you sign up for that. Speaking of the next stage of Grow Up, Level Up, I'll be announcing what's next in our next season. We will be taking a little break after this episode. So stay tuned for that by staying close to all our socials and our newsletter at Grow Up Level Up and growuplevelup.substack.com. Awesome. So with that out of the way, today for our guest, we are bringing in Samantha Cabitac. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Welcome to the show, also known as UnknownSamee.
Yes, that's exactly it.
UnknownSamee comes off from the far off land of Toronto to bring her expertise in games, but not just games, like esports, marketing, product marketing, all that. She's here to talk about it today on the podcast. So Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Samson. Honestly, it's gonna be a really great talk and I'm excited. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I forgot to ask, do you go by Samantha or Sam?
Either or, honestly. I think it really depends. Like in my company, I go mostly by Samantha, and it's just because there was two other Sams in the company. So it's like, I'm going to go with Samantha just because I'm like, I just want people to know like which, because there will be times where they'll refer to Sam and they'll be like, oh God, what do I do now? Or what did I do? Or what did I need to do? Right. So, but yeah, it could go either or. So
well,
it's up to you.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because you're actually our second Sam on the show. We had Samantha Dowdell earlier, and I also grew up with that Sam, and we also had to differentiate between Samantha and Samson, and it was a whole thing. So I understand the struggle.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I remember random tangent, but in elementary school, there was like two Samanthas in my grade. Yeah. So we basically had to go Samantha C, which is like for me for Cabitac, and then Samantha, I think H or something like that for the other. So whenever they're referring to, they have to refer to the last name too, just so that they know who who to call on or something like that. Because it's just gonna end up weird. That's
like a really common struggle I guess in elementary school until people make their own names or nicknames. Exactly. No, that's awesome. Yeah. Welcome to the show, and I will have to ask, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking passion tea lemonade from Starbucks.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if I should do this.
Not sponsored, unfortunately.
No, okay, I'll hide it there. Yeah. But it's called a passion tea lemonade. It's a really great drink. It's like with a bit of sweetness and sourness to it. It's a lemonade, right? So you can't really go wrong with lemonade. And the reason I got into this drink was when I first started working straight after university. My manager at the time was taking Starbucks orders. I didn't drink coffee at that time. Like I
Right.
refused to drink coffee at that time. And so and I didn't want to drink hot chocolate because it was late in the afternoon, super hot. Like why would I drink hot chocolate?
Summertime-ish.
Yeah, it was
Doesn't make
summertime-ish.
sense.
So I just told her, honestly, get me whatever you think I would like and then go from there. And then she got me this and it was
cool. Forever addicted? No.
A little bit, actually. No, I would get it in the summer. I don't think I'd get it during the winter just because it's a cold drink. So, but every summer I'd get it at some point or another.
Nice.
So,
yeah. And speaking of summer, it's going to be a hot week here in Vancouver. It's supposed to be like 30 degrees in May, which is great because it's like an early summer. But it's going to be a hot one.
Oh, yeah. No, I think I'm actually going back to Toronto next week. So I'm literally going to be here for the super hot weather. And then as soon as it starts dipping again, I'm off. So I literally just got, like, I got lucky in a sense where it's like, I get to experience the hot like weather and then I go back.
Well, is what's on Toronto weather like right now?
I think it's in the teens right now. It's a bit odd because I think the last couple of weeks there were a couple of my coworkers who live in Ontario were saying that it got super hot and then randomly started like hailing at one point too, and then back to like the teens weather again. So I was like, I don't know what to pack at this point. I feel like I just pack every weather that I can think of just so I'm prepared for any weather.
Yeah, bring the winter coat just in case.
Right?
You never know.
Right.
You never know. Yeah.
Right.
And for myself today, I have a black coffee also from Starbucks, an Americano. Somebody I met that works overseas. We do Zoom calls, and then he always calls me out when I have Starbucks because he's like, "What? Aren't you Canadian? Shouldn't you have Tim Hortons?" And it's like, there's no Tim Hortons near here, unfortunately.
Sadly, the Canadian, like, it's not as Canadian, like, around. Well, not as Canadian, but I would say like there's no Tim Hortons around this area.
Yeah, weird. It's pretty weird.
I heard it was something about the structure of Gastown, or not Gastown, sorry, Yaletown, that they don't have Tim Hortons here. I don't know why exactly.
Interesting, the structure of Yaletown. And yes, we are in Yaletown right now because once again, we're shooting in my workplace at Launch Academy. Find out more at launchacademy.ca. We are a tech accelerator and we're shooting in our media room. That's why everything's so fancy, high production quality. So.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know whether or not that was it.
No, that's all right.
I'm sorry.
We can shut it up. We can praise Vancouver. Have you ever heard Vancouver never plays itself? And it's like,
no, I've never heard that.
Oh, okay. So there's a YouTube video, every frame of painting. It's got like hundreds of millions of views.
Yep.
But it's basically a video about how every movie and TV show is shot here and made here, but like, oh, we're San Francisco or we're Chicago or
I think I've heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so champion Vancouver a little. All right. So another question I asked every guest. Sure. What are your top 3 games of all time?
Great question.
Yes.
So first and foremost, Kingdom Hearts is my all-time favorite game. As I have a Keyblade that I'm wearing right now. No, I don't think you can zoom into that.
It is for our audio listeners. It's like about 2-3 inches Keyblade necklace that Samantha's wearing.
Yeah, I've worn this actually for as long as I can remember. It's always been a part of my piece. Even when I used to go to these like fancy, well, not fancy, but like those kind of corporate conferences or like corporate gatherings or anything like that. When I at a previous job, I'd always wear this as a piece, a statement piece, and it's just literally because when I was working at those jobs, no one really played games, or at least like it's very like not tied down, but like no one really talks about games, or like no one really talks like, or no one really says that they're, I play video games. So I always have like I was always like in the mindset of it makes me stand out more, at least at that sense, because it's like I play video games, I am good at my job, and it's a conversation starter in a sense.
Cool. So, okay. So in that setting, like playing games was not as common or not as celebrated.
It was definitely not. It wasn't as celebrated, or even like sometimes like people will use that to their advantage and to the person's disadvantage, which is not really the best. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not a fun time. And even if they kind of have a hint in terms of like, not specifically video games, but like I guess some people still have a sense of that connotation that's like, oh, if you play video games, you're very awkward. You're like, you're probably not going to be fun or anything like that, or just like they don't want to hang out with that type of person, which sucks because it's like you're missing out on a person just because of one kind of quality, right?
One hobby they choose out of like maybe the many that they have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know what Kingdom Hearts is, it's maybe I'll let you pitch it. What is
sure.
Kingdom Hearts in a sentence?
So it is by the company Square Enix, and it's basically an RPG game that you mix kind of Final Fantasy characters, some original characters, and Disney characters. Yeah. So like you'll see a lot of Disney familiar faces. Like you'll go to Olympus, you'll go into different worlds, actually going around and trying to figure out how exactly they're all interconnected. And it's honestly a really fun game. I'm going to say that definitely if you have not tried to play the game, the story gets very convoluted because there's the main 1, 2, and 3 games.
Yeah.
There's like 2.5, 1.5 remix, like 2.8 remix. There's also the now what do you call it? The rhythm game now too that they released like a bit ago.
Like story that's needed to understand the story?
Some of it actually.
Whoa.
And then there was even I think when they released if I remember correctly, when they first released the 3rd game, which is supposed to be the last of the series, you actually had to play a little bit of the mobile game in order to get a bunch of the story in the 3rd game.
Wow. Okay.
So it like I said, very convoluted story. Yeah. Still great in my opinion, but number 1 was like kind of, in a way, my intro to love video games, basically.
Oh, okay. So, and we'll dive into that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's only one game, so I apologize for that. Yeah, I got 2 more.
Let's keep going.
So another game that I really love is... Well, I don't play it anymore, but I still consider it like a big part of my life, which is League of Legends.
Oh,
and
okay.
So the reason why I say that is... because I don't play the game anymore, right? But... that's what introduced me into esports specifically.
Cool.
So
okay.
I still consider it as like, in a sense, like a top, not really top game, but like it's still a favorite because of that kind of sentimental value of like, that's where I kind of figured out, oh, esports can be a career path, or like esports can be like, it introduced me into like so many like friends, like so many people in my life that are now like my closest friends and like some of the most important people in my life. So
League of Legends.
Yeah. So League of Legends, as surprising as that sounds, because of the communities, like you understand that in a sense. So
so League of Legends is a team game where 5v5 the goal is to get to the other person's base and destroy it.
Yeah.
But it's a 5v5 game, so you're playing with 4 other people. So there's a lot of teamwork involved. And for those outside the esports realm, it's over the last like 10, 15 years, it's become like a huge global phenomenon. They had the tournament down in San Francisco last year, and Lil Nas X was there. Yeah. Like the entire...
Jackson Wang was there too from the K-pop like side of things, which is wild. Like
like the entire world showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
For this game.
Exactly. I think this year they announced... I think they made an announcement of where they're heading back this year, if I remember correctly.
Oh, so where at?
I think what I saw was Seoul. I'm not too sure.
Oh,
I think so.
Yeah, that's
that might be some. That might be. We have to fact check that. I think.
We'll fact check
we'll check. Well, if it's not, cut it because I don't know. I actually don't know.
That's okay. We're just spreading false misinformation.
Oh no. Well, you gotta go.
And your third.
My third game.
Yeah, of all time.
Let's see what my third game of all time. I'd have to say it's a recent one, but actually Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, okay. That's the online Final Fantasy game.
Yes, that's the MMO for Final Fantasy. And the reason why is that it was a game that for the longest time, like I liked playing all my games and stuff like that, like my type of RPG games. And for that game specifically, it caught my attention for a solid 2 to 3 months straight, where I would actually get up super early in the morning for like an hour and a half before work, play the game, and then after work I'd like get dinner, like do whatever I need to if I already have plans or whatever. But most of the time, if I don't, I will literally be playing that game until like I sleep. Wow. Like it was wild.
That is hardcore.
like it was wild of how much like I played that. Like it was. It's weird saying this, but like I actually degened in that game. Like it was so good. Like the story was really well done. The mechanics of it was so well done. Like And like I got to know a lot more people like through it. That was like really cool. And honestly, it was just such a fun game. So I was like, so I think that's probably like my third one, just because of how much attention it got to me, which is wild.
I mean, yeah, if you had fun, like then it's not really time wasted.
No,
right?
it's not.
No, that's extremely hardcore. It's been a while since I heard someone who wakes up before work or school, plays, and then goes back to it after. But much respect to you.
Oh, Jesus, thank you. But I don't know if that's a bit of respect or like I went degen mode during that.
That's okay. You committed to the grind. You committed to the grind.
No, I was. Oh gosh.
No, that's awesome. Well, it sounds like the 3 games you have are actually kind of pretty diverse, because you have one that's an MMO, so one that you play with a whole bunch of people, like strangers. You have League of Legends, where it's team-based. It's like playing like soccer. You got to be in sync and locked in.
Yeah.
And then you have Kingdom Hearts, which is like a fun adventure with a really, really deep story that spans like multiple, not just games, like multiple types of games and places. So, wow, you're a very seasoned gamer.
I am very... I guess like in terms of the games that I've played, honestly, for the longest time I thought, or I guess I like my kind of RPGs. Like if you're gonna ask me like what my favorite kind of type of game is, I love like role playing single player games. Like that's kind of my favorite, because I love any game that has like a really good story. The mechanics are great. Like if you give me that, I am literally solid for like the last bit. So
cool. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like you know what you like.
Yes, I do. For games. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's take a little break from the games. I want to talk a little bit about your job.
Yeah.
We kind of hinted at it earlier, but you come from Toronto.
I do, yes.
And you moved here not too long ago.
No.
Kind of recently. So what is the history of your jobs, and how'd you end up here in Vancouver?
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit of a long one.
It's okay. We can start wherever you want.
Yeah. Hopefully, like I'll try to make it as short as I can. So yeah, in Toronto, I was actually going to be I actually started off school in like going into science. I was going to become a doctor.
Cool. Whoa,
originally. Yeah,
nice.
No, that was my original plan. Like I had it all laid out. Like I got into, I think, like a pre-med course in my like hometown and stuff, and for university. I literally had a part-time job lined up where I was a medical office assistant, basically studying under like, or not like doing work under like a doctor who was also like showing me the ropes and stuff. He would never let me touch and he would never let me like
do surgery
or like, he would never let me like diagnose a patient or anything like that. But he would like I think there was a couple times where he let me into like the room and kind of and just let me sit back and like tell me like, oh, this is what I'm doing, blah blah blah, and
let you observe and learn through that.
Exactly.
Way. Cool.
Exactly.
Wow. So you were in the room already.
Yeah. No, I was in the room already, and then I also had like a plan like laid out where after my second year, I think you can take like the MCAT, which is like the medical school test. So I could, because you can take it right after your second year of schooling, and then if you pass that already, you can go. I don't know if you can go straight to med school or not. I think that's not it. But
I have no idea.
I have no clue either. But
we didn't get that far.
Yeah, we didn't get that. We didn't get that far at all. Yeah, as you can tell now. But yeah, no. And like after kind of that era, because it just kind of like didn't work out in a sense. I went into a business major, basically, and I was just trying to figure out exactly what I wanted, because I was going to a new program where all my friends are gone. They're not in the same class as me anymore. And I was pretty shy and quiet in a sense. Like I only had my group of friends and those who I usually stuck with.
Yeah.
And so my friend introduced me to saying, oh, you should go into this LAN event in my school.
LAN as in like local area network, like in person.
Yes, in person, like an in-person event. That there was a club at the school that held like that basically held LAN events every semester. Basically, they would rent out a lecture hall, and then for like 48 hours they would have tournaments, like fun games, prizes, like all that stuff.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What organization was this in the school?
So it was actually called LAN War. This was at University of Ontario Institute of Technology, or Ontario Tech is what they're called now.
Yeah.
And so every semester like that organization would organize these like tournaments and stuff, and I was not good enough to be like, I was not good enough to enter. Like my friends were good enough to enter. They had their own teams, but I would never do that because I was not good at all.
Totally,
so
right.
I ended up joining as like a tournament admin, but also helping out with like the Minecraft community there, because I was into
cute.
Minecraft so hard like during then as well.
I think everybody has to go through that phase.
Yeah, so I went through that phase like pretty late in the game. So
yeah,
but I went through that phase and like I helped like do the tournament there. As well as like I think and also I helped admin the League of Legends tournament as well for a bit. And then the tournament grew, and then we kind of our president at the time like kind of got the ball rolling with like TESPA when it was first like coming into wraps with everything, which is Blizzard's like collegiate program that they had for like the longest time. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's how I initially got involved with TESPA as just like as someone who was like one of the school chapters. Like I guess in a way like clubs basically can go to TESPA to be able to get like prizing and stuff like that from Blizzard, because they were under Blizzard, right? So if your school was a chapter, they would like TESPA would have like you set up with the community coordinator, and then they would basically help you run these like events, the same events at your school, and give you prizing, like sponsorships, help with sponsorships, stuff like that. Basically help you kind of level up your your community stuff. Yeah, exactly. Level up. But yeah, they would help you. They would basically help you like level up your campus club. Oh gosh, that was like the old slogan. I can't believe I still remember that.
No, okay. So TESPA was Blizzard, like the game studios organization to like incentivize more people to participate in these collegiate sports, gaming, LAN events, game
exactly,
events.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay.
And then so I did so after that, just being kind of like someone in the community, just basically trying to help their college program. I ended up applying for like one of their tournament admin jobs for when Overwatch came out, because they had like their Overwatch tournament there that they had like a big LAN for the TESPA did. And so I got that role, and that's kind of how everything got the ball rolling, basically. I got the job back in 2017, and it was contract work, right? But it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, to be honest. Like it was like I got to meet people for the first time that I worked with online only. Wow. Like I got to go do the tournament for like the first ever Overwatch collegiate LAN that happened in San Diego. I was able to help out there, so which is really cool.
So you got to travel.
I got
in this position.
Yeah, I got to travel, and like it was honestly really neat, because it was I think one of the first times I was like, oh, this can actually, like, going through that whole experience was like, gaming can actually be a career for me, because I was honestly like at a low point when I moved over to like my business program. Right. Like I was like pretty alone. Like I was like starting anew, basically. Like my whole life was like basically like I was gonna be a doctor, and then it just went into flames, basically. So yeah.
Well, you were gonna be a doctor, and then you kind of didn't know what to do, so you took business. Yeah. Which I think like it's a running joke that people who don't know what to do take business. So you took business, but then you found this club, and this club led to an opportunity to run the club.
And I never ran the club. I was just helping like run the tournaments and stuff with a few other people. But I never ran it. No.
So that led you to running tournaments, and then how did all that bring you here to Vancouver?
So basically when I was back in Toronto, I was doing a few jobs still there. Because it was only contract work, and it was on my last year of university. I couldn't really like obviously support myself with that. So I was still I did inside sales, basically, in a tech company.
Oh, interesting.
For like almost 2 years, basically.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was not fun, to be honest. Like it was very like the work was like, it was basically like a lot of helping out, like it was a sales support role, so I was helping out a lot of the account managers and stuff. And I think what it really taught me, though, that job was mainly like how to be more assertive in like my role, and how to be more assertive person, how to kind of a little bit of that customer support type thing where you're kind of like helping out someone else in that role, in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And so after that, I ended up getting a job at MSI Canada as the account manager there.
Oh, cool.
I expressed and how I ended up getting that was that I was volunteering for a lot of their booths when they did events in Toronto. So when they had an opening, I ended up applying for a job, and I got it. But I expressed to my manager that I want to do marketing. I want to kind of like be in more in that role. So he kind of made like a hybrid role in a sense where it's like I was doing sales support, sales and kind of and account managing stuff on one end, but during like the event season is what I call it, where I would be traveling like once a month somewhere in Toronto or in Montreal or once in Vancouver to run these booths, take care of all that, and make sure that everything runs smoothly for the weekend.
Yeah.
And then that would be like once a month for a week for 6 months. That was my life.
Wow.
It was like traveling like somewhere in Toronto or in Montreal or the LTX Expo in Vancouver. I was there too.
Yeah. I remember when that was on a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So I was there with MSI, and that's where I first actually came to Vancouver for the first time. And I was like, I think I remember like after getting off the train in my head, or the train in my head, I was like, how do I get to live here?
Really?
Yeah, no,
okay.
it was.
So Vancouver sold you.
Oh, yeah, no, Vancouver sold me. I was like, oh my gosh, how do I get here?
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, 6 months later, I got the job at Titans with the Canucks, the Seattle Surge. So,
nice.
And that was like, I think when that happened, like I didn't expect it because it was kind of just like, oh, I'll apply for this role, see how it goes. And if I don't get it, I'll stay at MSI because I love the job. I loved my manager still, like he was great. But I definitely wanted to kind of do more esports at that time because I missed it a lot. I think when I was at kind of, or because I was,
you were at MSI.
Yeah, exactly.
You missed the esports that you had. Working with Tespa.
Yes, exactly. Cool. Yeah. And then that's how I came to Vancouver.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the job with the Canucks, working for Vancouver Titans and Seattle Surge. You were surprised to get that, but you ended up here. You made it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how did you get to Hyper Hippo? So for those who don't know, like Vancouver Titans is an esports team that plays Overwatch. Seattle Surge is actually also owned by the Canucks, but they represent Seattle. They play Call of Duty.
Yep.
And then that's esports. It's like the NFL, NHL of those respective video games. But now you're at Hyper Hippo Games.
Yeah.
What was that jump like moving from, well, I'll let you explain what you do at Hyper Hippo. Sure. And then what was that jump like working in esports to like a more traditional marketing role in a studio?
So I'm the product marketing manager at Hyper Hippo now. And my kind of role is looking at the App Store, like App Store optimization, ASO, and then also helping out with like the kind of marketing, the creative strategies behind that, and also using kind of our CRM tool as well. So I'm helping out with the kind of strategies and executions of that. Do a lot of competitive research. I do a lot of competitive research as well.
Wow.
When it comes to kind of like games, kind of trying to staying ahead basically exactly of what both our main app stores, like the iOS App Store and Google Play Store, kind of basically tell us what we need to do. So
okay, so it's like market research. Trying to figure out what is best for your games. Do you like get to dictate what games get released where?
No, it's not me at all. No. I mostly help with kind of like figuring out how these games will look like on our app store, like what kind of design is like like what kind of design does our app store kind of need in terms of what our competitors doing, or what's good in terms of what will get eyes and clicks on it. Right. So
cool.
Doing a bit of that. Excuse me. And in terms of that switch between kind of esports to kind of like a game development, or like, as you say, that type of job, it was definitely a shift because for the longest time, esports was kind of like a go environment. Like you always had to be on the go. You always had to like, you always had to basically be working. Even when you're not working, you're still working. Like, and that's always a stigma. And I think that's something people are realizing, that you shouldn't be like go every single time, because if you are, you're going to get burnt out so easily, and it's not going to be good, like for you, especially mental health wise, and just kind of your life kind of balance work wise. Like it's not healthy at all. And so that was one of the things I had to like recalibrate in a sense, because I was in like esports, collegiate esports for so long.
Right.
For like, I think it was like probably, I'd say 4 to 5 years. I
Yeah.
was in that mindset of like, go, I need to keep going. I need to like do this. I need to do that. I need to like, I think I remember when I just started out, like I had my actual like full-time job, the one at the tech company. I was volunteering at events like in Toronto, and I also still had my TESPA contracting gig. So I was doing
Wow.
like 3 different jobs, and I was always like doing something at least.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so definitely that mindset of like making sure you're taking time for yourself was such a massive kind of like 180 for me.
Oh, okay.
And that was something I definitely like needed to get used to, because there is definitely like times where in Hyper's actually pretty good at this, but they're very much a company that helps you with kind of like if you, let's say you need mental health day, like we have personal days where we can easily just take it without having to explain why we're taking it. It's like, oh, I need to take a personal day today, and then no questions asked, that's it. And you have a certain amount of days for that. We have lots of vacation days as well that, you know, they're encouraging you to take it as well, right? And they encourage also a pretty good work-life balance, where it's like, if like for instance my team, like I love my manager, he's an amazing like manager, he's one of the most amazing managers I've honestly had. Literally, I think there was a day where I just kind of was feeling like it wasn't like I wasn't feeling really the best. Like something happened to me a few days ago that basically like didn't hit me, that happened until like after. And I literally, it's kind of sad to admit this, but like I broke down in front of him basically in like a meeting, and I was like, hey, like I need to take the rest of the day off. Like I can't, I honestly cannot focus on work or anything. And he's like, go to like, you know, he was very like gentle in a sense where it's like, don't even like like Sam, don't even like you don't need to ask me, just tell me what you need and I will like be there for you and give you the best support I can. Like you don't have to worry about like basically like being, you know, being like, oh, you're not allowed to take the day off, basically.
Right.
And yeah, and that was honestly something that like I think I was like, wow, like,
I'm surprised.
Like, yeah, no, it was very surprising. So,
okay. So the transition, well, the biggest thing you noticed going from esports to like a studio is the importance of work-life balance and that your management really like favors or not favors, really values that as well. Yeah. Wow.
No, they do.
I kind of resonate with that. So I used to work at schools, working with kids with special needs, and then it was a lot of go as well. Probably not as much as esports. Like we're like 9 to 3, and then it's like you can chill. That's all when all the kids go home. But like, and then coming here to a tech accelerator where it's a lot of desk work and logistical stuff, like, and it has its challenges, but it never felt it almost felt wrong for it to be so chill.
Yes. Actually, funny story, but one of the things that I like, one of the other things is that like speaking of that, it felt like feeling kind of wrong to feel more chill in a sense, is like, and something I'm still trying to get used to is like back in my previous jobs, like if something was like if a point was too chill, it would be because like something got dropped, or there's like a ball that got dropped somewhere and we didn't realize until like someone points it out, and we're like scrambling to make sure like everything is good to go, or like, you know,
panicking. You're panicking. You're panicking because you did a job well done.
No. And this time around, I have to get used to. I have to get basically used to like, if it's a chill moment, take the chill moment and like do what you need to. Like if it's admin work, or like you're doing research on like, I don't know, a new creative that could be a possibility for us to do for like a different month and everything like that. But or like even research projects that we just want to do, because, you know, that's one of the things of our I feel like are as good of our company is that we do have like a couple of days actually to be able to do the research that we want if we do want to take it. So it's there too. So just getting used to that. And it's something I bring up always with my boss. I'm like, hey, it's eerily quiet, and I don't like this feeling. He's like, Sam, just take it. Like
Yeah.
take the quiet week because it like our like the workload's gonna get so much like soon. So take the
Mm,
quiet as you take the quiet time
I
that there
feel it.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely hear that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah, if it's chill at work, you're not being lazy.
Mm.
It's you did a really good job and we should enjoy it
Yeah.
because the rushes will come. Like
Yeah.
almost like a coffee shop or something.
Yeah, or like a roller coaster basically where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's like high ups of like, oh my god, like everything like is priority, like you need to get so many things done at the same time. And
Mhm.
then there's like a low of like, oh, like, most of the things are done, or you can take your time with a few more projects and stuff like
Mhm.
that, or you can take on a few more projects that and it's not gonna like basically like be like, oh my god, there's too much work. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, those
Yeah.
are really great insights about
Yeah.
like the different types of work environments that you have
Yeah.
in games. Like
Yeah.
when people think of, oh, I work in games or
Yeah.
I make games, they think of like the coder guy in
Yeah.
front of the computer.
Yeah.
But no,
No.
you've done esports, which
Mhm.
is like competition
Yeah.
and marketing in a little bit.
Yeah.
But now you're in a game studio,
Yep.
but you're not directly working on the game. You're trying to get that game out to as many people as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a lot of different skills being used in games.
Yeah, no, there honestly is. And it's yeah, and you're honestly right. There's still I don't want to say stigma, but there's still kind of like um a sentiment around like if you say to someone you work in games,
Mhm.
like there's still that kind of like connotation of, oh, you like coding or are you making the game? It's like you're and most of the time it's like no, you're helping the process to make the game, but not actually
Mhm.
like making the game, but you're helping kind of get it out there as much people as you want, or you're helping with build up the community that's behind that too,
Yeah.
you're you're making all the content that the community is like looking at, or you're helping make the processes that help make the games. Like
Mhm,
those are
mhm.
all kind of viable like game like in game development studios. But then there's also there's also the community mods. There's also uh I'm just trying. There's a lot. There's a
There's
lot that goes into games.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's on top of the people that do the coding,
Mm.
there's the artists
Yep.
that draw it all, 3D artists that have to model it all, sound designers that have
Which
to
are
record
amazing
sounds.
people. Like the artwork that I see sometimes, or that I see a lot of time when people are submitting either their designs for a contest, or
Mhm.
if they're just making even some fan art is wild. Like what the people can do, and I'm just like, how do you do that? I can literally only make stick figures.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
little cartoons.
Yeah, my little stick figure cartoons is literally all I can do. So
Yeah, lots of really talented people out
yeah.
there, and we got to make sure we pay our artists
Oh,
too,
definitely. Oh,
all the
that
time.
yes, completely.
Yeah, so like working in games is
Mhm.
not just I code the
Yeah.
game. It's I different team members going towards whatever their strengths are,
Yeah.
trying to make a really cool product to
Mm.
give out to the world.
Exactly.
In the end, it's like we're all making art together kind of
Yeah.
thing. No, that's
Exactly.
awesome.
And then and in esports it's the exact same thing when
Oh, okay,
when
yeah.
there's I already said connotation, but like there's still like that mindset of if you work in esports, some people will kind of say, oh, were you a part of a team, or were you actually playing in a team? And it's like,
Are you a player
yeah,
on
are
the
you a
team?
player on the team? And it's like and a lot of the time you have to say no, like I'm not a player, or I'm not a content creator. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot more jobs like in esports than just being a content creator, being on camera,
Mhm.
being talent. There's like if you think what you mentioned earlier, it's like the NFL. Like think of like an NFL team or like an NBA team, or
Mhm.
those teams. Think of what they need to like basically make an organization. You'll have almost the exact same thing in esports to an extent, of course, but
A little smaller,
a
but
little smaller, but like
yeah.
the roles that those teams require are the exact same kind of thing in a sense. Like you'll
Right.
need like you need coaches, you'll need general managers, you'll need player slash managers,
Mhm.
like like team psychologists if you
Yeah,
need to, so that mental health, because mental health is such an important topic in esports, especially like with
totally.
player mental health. Like that is so important, especially like nowadays too. Like
Mhm, mhm. As
so
it's becoming more and more popular, like
yeah,
people are realizing, oh, this is just like every other sport or
exactly.
competitive thing where you
Yeah,
need someone to help you cool off and
exactly. Yeah,
understand what happened. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, like esport as well as like the marketing people,
Yeah,
social media
yeah.
people.
Content like like videographers, like partnerships people, because like when the things. Maybe there's partnerships. Like you need those, you need sponsors, right? So you need someone to help facilitate that and kind of like get those kind of deals in and everything, right?
Yeah, it's really big operation.
Yeah,
it's
really, honestly, it really is, because like some people don't. I think some people don't realize like that esports, because they just generally think an esports team is literally just guys playing video games and that's it.
It's the
right?
5 guys you see on the screen.
Yeah, the 5 guys you see on the screen and that's it. But when in reality, there's like 10 or 20 people behind the scenes making those guys like basically like, you know, showing off their content, showing off their personalities, getting them the sponsorships and the tools that they need to be able to play at their highest.
Yeah.
Like it's something that I think is like still that needs to be kind of shown a lot more, because some people still like have it off as like just the 5 guys and like one other person, that's it.
Well, I think it also sounds like for those outside of esports or new to esports, it's more similar than they think. Because when you think of a hockey team, like we'll use Vancouver Canucks because we're here.
Yeah.
like you know, there's a coach, there's people that do videos, there's people that manage their gear and equipment. Like it's similar to esports. It's the same idea. You have a whole team behind the team that you just see that played a game.
Exactly.
So same but different.
Exactly. Yeah. Same but different. That's exactly it.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone that wants to get into games and work in a game?
Like in esports or in gaming?
Let's say making games, because that's what you're kind of doing right now.
That's fair. I think honestly, a couple, or can I give 2?
Of course.
There's a couple things that are like that I think I've learned, especially like during my time kind of transitioning over, and also like during my time in esports.
Yeah, go for it.
So one thing is definitely definitely, as kind of cheesy as it sounds, shoot your shot. Like you never really know what you'll kind of get if you don't like shoot your shot in like, especially in like games and esports. Like even just sending off a message to someone that you look up to in the industry, or someone that you want to be like their position in a sense, right? Like let's say if you want to work for a game company and you there's a social and you want to be there, the community manager, social media manager. It literally never hurts to send them like a quick message saying, hey, like, you know, my name is so and so, and I would love to like if I can take like 10 to 15 minutes of your time to talk to you about your job, as I'm someone who's aspiring to be there, to be in the same position, or like, you know, to have this career. And obviously respectfully, of course. Like you have to do that respectfully. Like
don't message them once every day.
Exactly. Don't message them once every day. If they don't send you anything, you know, the worst they can say is no or not respond. And then after that, it's like, okay, you've tried, like, and that's it. But sometimes messages could lead to like literally like I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but like sometimes it could lead to like interesting opportunities, or like even just opportunities of meeting with them, or even just like stuff like that, right? So don't be scared to shoot your shot with that. And then the second thing is if like, let's say I would say don't shoot for esports, at least for esports. Like don't make that your like only priority.
Okay, so don't go into esports thinking you are only going to work in esports.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, don't go straight into esports and that's your only plan. Like because it is so hard to get your foot in the door, even in gaming as well. Like it's very hard to get your foot in the door. And honestly, and you only need just that one role to get you into like either industry. But if let's say it doesn't happen within a certain amount of time frame, or like, you know, it doesn't happen right away, build up your skills outside of esports and gaming.
Right.
So either working at a different company or at a different even industry, like, but building up those like transferable skills that you can take to esports is such a big like asset to anyone, because at that point, like after let's say like a couple of years or so, you've been working at a certain company as a social media manager or as a marketing manager at a different company.
Yeah.
And you are able to show an esports organization or a game like a game studio, that you're able to transfer the skills that you that you had in this industry over to gaming. That's honestly a way kind of bigger. That's honestly such a good kind of thing to have, because like you're gonna hit the ground running once you get in there. And you can teach anyone exactly like what the audience is in gaming and esports and stuff like that, or what you need to do. But as long as you have that experience, it's easy to transfer and like I said, as long as you're able to transfer the skills, right?
Yeah. Okay. So your two pieces of advice: one, shoot your shot. You'll never know who you respond. The worst you get is like no response or a no, and that's okay.
Yeah,
like there's tons of people at work that you can reach out to.
Yeah.
And the other one is even if you're not in the industry right away, like the industry, as we've heard, is like made up of a whole bunch of different skill sets. So continue to work on those skill sets. And you never know, one day when the chance comes up, you'll be ready to go, hit the ground running.
Exactly. Yeah, you'll be ready to go. And like, of course, like most of the time you're not going to get your dream job obviously right away, right? But you know, you definitely have to work hard to get to where you want to be. And I think that's also another important thing is like definitely work hard for that.
But nothing is given.
Yeah, exactly. But don't overwork yourself. Like don't burn out. Don't burn out. Yeah. I'm not. Don't condone that. Don't burn yourself out, because if you do, then that's such like that spells for disaster.
Take care of yourself first. And then work on your skills in a healthy way.
Yeah,
and whatever works for you.
Yeah.
Don't burn yourself out.
Don't be like me when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
Don't do what I did.
Yeah, this wisdom comes from experience.
Yeah.
No, that's
and
awesome.
It's not fun.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about games. We obviously went into it a lot earlier for your top 3. But I guess other than like getting a job and finding out this is what you want to do, how else have games impacted your life?
It's definitely found a way for me to connect with friends or just with people in general.
Cool. Yeah.
Like I think like I said earlier, I'm a bit of a shy person, like I still am a little bit of a shy person, like so one of the things that I like, and that's why I think I touched on this earlier, but that's why I wear like my Kingdom Hearts necklace, is that some people, even in games who don't know what Kingdom Hearts is, sometimes they'll point out the necklace and be like, "Oh, what's this?" So I get into the topic of like, you know, Kingdom Hearts, video games, Pokemon, another thing I love Pokemon. Oh, why did I mention that? Pokemon's like fantastic. I love
Pokemon here.
Yeah. Oh, I love. I honestly want to get a Pokemon tattoo. Yeah,
that'd be sick.
I have one already for Kingdom Hearts, like over here. I love the game, but I'm planning on another tattoo on like just to match it on this side, but I'm still trying, like on this side, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how that would go about, but I know Pokemon's going to be in it.
Ooh, okay. That's exciting.
Yeah. But anyway, but that's kind of like how I kind of use like games in my life, is just kind of a talking point of what I love, and like
icebreaker almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. It's an icebreaker almost, but also like it's definitely helped me also cope a lot, especially during the times where either it's hard or like or, you know, I just want to relax. Like, I don't want to really do anything too kind of like straining for my brain, because maybe it's like a hard day at work, or maybe I'm going through something else, like a personal thing.
Yeah.
Like I usually just go find a game that I really like, or even something that I can just kind of like, I get a game that can like, I can turn my brain off and just kind of go at it basically. It's something definitely that has shaped me a lot. And then when I was younger, like I never honestly knew that I could get into games. Like, like games was something that I did as a hobby when I was younger, like because I was so into like, you know, becoming a doctor and stuff, right? Like I just thought games was just something like like I literally
like you did for fun, or something you left behind as a kid. Almost?
I actually played games a lot when I was younger, and then when high school came, as I think when I started picking it back up a lot more, and then university hit and I was just gone. It's like video games just kind of took over basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like you went way deep into the games.
We did way deep into video games. So it's definitely like shaped me like all throughout my life. And like one of the things like, and that's why I said like Kingdom Hearts was like the first thing I mentioned, was that there's so much meaning behind so many symbols, so many of like the game items in there that has so many symbols that has shaped like a part of my life. Like for example, and I'll say this quickly, but like in Kingdom Hearts, there is an item called the Paupu fruit. I think hopefully I didn't butcher that, or else that'd be really bad. But it's like a star. It's like a fruit that looks like a star.
Yeah.
And in game, it basically means if you share that fruit with someone, your destinies will be forever intertwined. It doesn't matter if it's like a romantic or a friendship. It's just your destinies will be forever intertwined. Like you're basically part of each other's lives forever.
Is that like part of the story, or is it more of like a
It's a bit of part of the story.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a part of the story for it too. And that's something I kind of like took seriously, and I still take seriously to this day. Like I think like that is something that's so like meaningful, and it just kind of means like for me that's like I want to share my life with my friends and like my whoever my partner is and I want to make sure that they know like I'm there for them like forever. It doesn't like matter like the thing. So
yeah, it's like it's like a bond. By doing this ritual or doing this symbol, it's a bond.
Yeah, exactly.
So and it's very nice that Kingdom Hearts was able to visualize that for you and like solidify that for you. That's awesome. Exactly. The palpu fruit.
A palpu fruit. Yeah, I think it's like
I'm probably saying it wrong too.
Yeah, no, it's oh god, I don't know. I'm not gonna spell it. I might butcher it.
We'll try to throw a picture up somewhere in the edit. Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around here maybe.
Somewhere if you know.
Yes.
No, that's really nice. Okay, so Kingdom Hearts was kind of the game that will carry you on forever.
Yeah, exactly. And then another one is Pokemon, which I wish I talked more about that because that kind of so. And honestly, Pokemon was always a part of my life in a game that was just like a constant like thing that has like a part of my childhood, but also just like it has some really like some of the games have been really great. Obviously, there are some like misses, obviously, right? Like but a lot of the games like I found so entertaining and so like engaging as like a kid, but also as an adult. Like it's just something that I like to do. Like I think like especially this the new one, the current new one,
Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, Scarlet and Violet. Still working through Violet just because it's been busy and I've been playing other games.
Yeah.
But
fair enough.
It's been so fun. Like especially when I got back into it, I was like playing it like almost every day basically. So yeah.
Okay, so what draws you to Pokemon? Because like I think people know what Pokemon is. It's Pikachu.
Yeah.
It's collecting these cute monsters, but I think like. And I'm a big fan of Pokemon too, so don't worry. I'm not testing you.
Oh no, definitely.
Like, what draws you to the franchise? What draws you to these games that come out every couple of years?
No, when I was a kid, it was just something that I think my parents introduced us to video games and stuff as something just kind of like something that we kind of like to do like on a spare time and stuff like that. And Pokemon was one of those games.
Okay.
And it was like, honestly, just as soon as like I started playing, I think it was Leaf Green. I think when I first got it.
Yeah.
I think, and I previously got Yellow on the Game Boy Color from my uncle, but I never really understood the game. Like it was like I was like, what am I doing with this? But like I still played it. But I was like, what am I doing? I was like, what am I doing? But okay. But then when Leaf Green and Fire Red came out, and I got. The Game Boy SP, the flip one.
Yeah, like, this was around like 2005.
Yeah, 2005, where it was like the square thing. So I got Leaf Green, and I just got so addicted to the game. Like, it was so fun. Like, I wanted to collect every single Pokemon. Like, I even remember getting, I think the first ever character I got to level 100 was Charizard, and I was so proud of myself. I was so proud of myself. I was like, my first ever level 100. Oh my gosh. Like I literally had to go through the Elite Four so many times in that game just to get Charizard to like level 100. Yeah. But I was so proud of that. And it just kind of stayed with me because it's such a nice and kind of like wholesome game that you can kind of just, just kind of go through like a little bit of a cute story there, but also like kind of have some goal setting in mind where it's like, oh, I have to get these Pokemon to level whatever to be able to beat this gym leader, or like I have to catch a certain Pokemon in order to beat this gym leader, right? Because like sometimes you'll catch all these Pokemon, you'll have your party, but then when you get to one of the gym leaders where you have nothing weak against them, you're like, well. Crap. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to swear in your thing?
I haven't made that a hard decision, but swear as much as you want. We're all adults here. We're all adults here.
No, I'm not. Okay, I'm not gonna draw my phone, but like, I'll make sure to like that thing. Yeah.
So it sounds like Pokemon taught you to like grind. I want to say the word grind, but it taught you how to work towards a goal that takes a really long time. Like when we talk about fighting the Elite Four, it's not over like 15 minutes. This is like days at a time.
Yeah, it is days at a time. Like especially if you like, and I was a stubborn kid too, I remember.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, I remember thinking like, I'm going to beat the Elite Four with like the current party I have. I'm not going to capture any other Pokemon.
Yeah. I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah, I'm going to do it my way. I'm just going to power through. That took me so many times to do. Like, especially the first time you win against the Elite Four.
Yeah.
That, like, I remember having to grind out, like, basically all my Pokemon had to be a certain level. I had to have, like, 5 like potion, like the hyper potions or max potions and hyper potions.
Like yeah.
Like 5 times full restore per Pokemon. Like 5 times revive per Pokemon as well. Like I was stocked up in terms of my potions.
You're ready.
And I was ready. No. And then every time if I didn't beat it and I forgot to save, I would go back, get everything redone, like level up a couple more levels, and then rerun again. Like, dang. I was stubborn. I was a stubborn kid when it comes to Pokemon.
Like in the end, it taught you to plan ahead. Yeah. That's one skill.
Yeah.
Taught you to like work hard and wait for the long-term prize at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. That's a really cool story. And now it's like you're still playing it more of a way to relax now. Like you have other things to grind for, more things. Yeah. But no, that's awesome. Pokemon is pretty special. So I'll let you have a top 4, okay? Pokemon can be your be your number 4.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah. So we're gonna close out our show pretty soon here. So I'm gonna ask 2 questions that I ask everybody.
Okay.
We'll start with the fun one.
Okay.
So one day I'll approach you.
Yeah.
Now you're the head of Hyper Samantha Games.
Oh, jeez.
But I have a lot of money and I want to fund your game.
Yeah.
It has to be about your life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it could be like maybe your career story or maybe a exciting thing that happened in your life. But you get to be the director. You get to choose the genre, the style, everything. And we can workshop it too. I know it's a pretty big question.
Yeah, that is a very big question. So what type of game would I basically make?
Yeah, what type of game would you make?
Oh, good question. Yeah. There's a few ways I can go about this. I think, honestly, like in terms of what I like playing, I think I'd go for the role-playing game.
Okay.
Because that's just kind of like, I guess, how I would think of the story about it. Like you're role-playing as like, my life, right? So role plays me. Or I could also go the different route, where the more in a way creative route, where I can go in an MMO and the players can choose like what they want in the story.
Okay.
Play around with like the like timelines, like Marvel, and just like kind of like, okay, what if I stayed as like a pre-med student, like I continue with the science, or or I stayed in a different route, or I kind of just dropped out altogether in school, like go under like the different routes like that. So,
yeah, like a choose your own adventure kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, but make it MMO where you can customize everything.
You can customize your dress. Yes. Respect yourself. Maybe it's like the MMO, there's different worlds, and the worlds are the career paths that you might have gone on.
Yeah, career paths are like different decisions in life that I would have taken. Like even like the smallest, or even have the butterfly effect in the game, where if I made a certain choice in like one of my early stages, like maybe I chose to like get up early and do my makeup instead of just getting up early and like playing a game. Yeah. Maybe I could have chosen a different career path at that point. A whole new like timeline goes in. Whoa. So I could play with that.
That's deep. Okay. So an MMO where it is all your life possibilities.
Yeah.
But like, it can change along the way, and we'll never know what happens next.
Yeah.
Well,
that's ambitious though. So like that's a more ambitious
I have
side of
a
me.
lot of money. Okay.
That's more ambitious.
I will fund this. That's awesome. And the second question I would like to ask you is, what is your one piece of wisdom you would like to leave with the world?
Ooh.
You did drop a lot of nuggets of wisdom,
I did.
like career-wise and life-wise today. Yeah. So if you want to pull one of those up again, that's cool too.
Honestly, I think take care of yourself, I think, is probably something that I would want to leave that at. And that's because I think, speaking from experience, if you don't take care of yourself, like things kind of around you are either going to fall apart, or like, like things are not going to go right. And taking care of yourself is like the most important thing in your life, because you're only one person, and you only have certain like things that you can do like by yourself. So I would definitely suggest that, like, because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you literally take care of any other people, right? Like,
Yeah.
You'll have no capacity to take care of like other people, especially if you're not taking care of yourself. And in a way, it's like you're giving yourself away, but you barely have anything to give at that point, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. No, that was very nice. Yeah, you're right. Like if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to be able to take care of other people?
yeah, how are you going to take care of other people? How are you going to take care of like, how are you going to do your job? How are you going to like, keep like stay in touch and take care of your friends, family, and all that stuff. So,
Take care of yourself.
yeah, take care of yourself.
Well, with that very beautiful ending, we're going to close out this episode of Grow Up Level Up. Thank you for joining Samantha and I on today's episode. I think we covered a lot of bases from work to mental health to game design. So that's awesome. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Samson. It was honestly really fun and just talking about all this stuff. So
yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. Like you reached out. I put out a call. Samantha reached out, and you might be our most famous guest we've had so far.
No, please don't.
You have a lot of Twitter followers, I think.
I'm really not. Like honestly, I don't go on Twitter a lot anymore, and like it's only like literally to keep up with some of my online friends that are still that are on there.
Cool.
But also, I don't know if you saw right before like. I think we started this. I think Elon Musk put in a tweet where he's actually having calls. He's implementing a calling feature on Twitter.
Calling like phone call?
Yeah, like think like Facebook Messenger, like the calling feature there.
Interesting.
Sure. Instead putting it into Twitter. So
yeah.
No, not sure how I feel about that.
You are wise to not spend too much time on that platform. It is wiggity whack.
Yeah. I try not to anymore. At least like I'll go on it from time to time, but like
fair enough. But when your friends are on there, it's tricky, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So. Anyways, enough about Twitter, but thank you for joining us again, everybody. If you want to follow along, find us at Grow Up Level Up on all the socials. Sign up for my newsletter because I'm going to be writing about maybe some behind the scenes tidbits, maybe a little extra thing about this episode and what's next for our podcast. Yeah. And if you ever have any feedback, you can message me directly at SamsonXP on all our socials. Samantha, where can people find you and maybe about what games you work on and all that?
So you can find me on most of my socials are at UnknownSamee. So SAM or unknown and then SAMEE. And then in terms of the games, the company I'm part of, search up Hyper Hippo Entertainment. I think hyperentertainment.com, I think, or maybe hypergames.com.
We'll link it in the
one
show
of the two.
notes.
We'll link. Yeah, we'll link it in the. We'll link it somewhere down there.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. So I was like, I don't know if I should do that.
Yeah, it's okay. If you're watching YouTube, we're pointing down. Anyways, thank you for joining us, everybody, and it has been our pleasure to serve you.